Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, the Health Minister warns hospital staff shirking their duties to pull up their socks. Draft legislation for the Climate Resilience Execution Agency of Dominica heading to Parliament in December. And the National Emergency Planning Organization NEPO prepares for the 2019 hurricane season. The details coming up.
Get ready to open the best gifts with Flow this Christmas. Sign up for a new broadband or TV service with free installation, or sign up for a broadband and TV bundle and get 40% off broadband for the first 2 months. Plus, get a chance to win a 55-inch smart TV, 1 year or 6 months of free service. Enjoy big-time entertainment and big speeds this Christmas with Flow. Terms and conditions apply. Visit discoverflow.co for more.
There are signs everywhere. Pay attention whether you're male or female. Visit your health center to get screened. It's a preliminary test to determine if you are exposed to the HIV virus, an STI, or tuberculosis. Some people who are HIV positive also have tuberculosis. But there's hope. Tuberculosis can be cured. And yes, you can live a full life with HIV. Talk to your doctor. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB, HIV. Encourage everyone to get tested.
The Minister for Health publicly calls out those in positions of authority at the hospital who may be neglecting their responsibilities. Speaking at the handing over ceremony of Dominica's first Smart Health Center in La Plaine on Wednesday, the minister responsible for health made it clear that he wanted whoever is not shouldering their responsibilities at the hospital to address it. The health minister raised the issue against the background of media reports of a lack of basic critical resources or supplies at the hospital. Mr. Darrow said this was very concerning in light of an increased budget for supplies.
While still on the people's payroll, please do your job. You're a doctor and you're expected to do certain hours, do your job. You're a nurse and expected to bring bedside comfort to your clients. Please do your job. You're the supplies manager of your facility and expected to ensure that the facility is well stocked. Do your job. You're the cleaner, the janitor, the driver. You're expected to keep your surroundings clean. Please do your job. In fact, it is of great concern to me as a minister when after an annual, and I repeat an annual, not a one-time increase of $5 million in our supplies and pharmaceutical budget, that some of our very own are echoing these outrageous baseless statements such as no paracetamol at the hospital or no functioning equipment. And ladies and gentlemen, please understand me when I say, and again I say this with no apology, that if after such a massive increase in one's annual budget, such basic supplies are allegedly not available, clearly someone or someones are not doing their jobs, and they are being put on notice.
Draft legislation to bring the Climate Resilience Execution Agency CREAD into effect expected to go before Parliament in December. Members of Cabinet, the Opposition United Workers' Party, the private sector, civil society, senior public officers and trade union representatives were among stakeholders at a consultation held on Wednesday at the Goodwill Parish Hall. That consultation sought to expose stakeholders to the proposed draft legislation required to establish the CREAD. The proposed legislation makes provision for chairman of the Climate Resilience Execution Agency Policy Board in the person of the Prime Minister or his designate. The board will have a wide range of responsibilities. They include, but are not limited to, approving the Dominica Climate Resilience and Recovery Plan and establishing national infrastructure standards.
The board would be constituted, or will be constituted, in accordance with Clause 4 of the bill, and the functions of the board will be as set out in Clause 5. The functions of the board will include defining the measures needed to make Dominica a climate resilient nation in all sectors. The board will also be responsible for the development, in consultation with CREAD and other experts, of the Dominica Climate Resilience and Recovery Plan. The Dominica Climate Resilience and Recovery Plan will specify recovery priorities, targets and goals for Dominica. Clause 7 specifies the duties of the Cabinet Secretary, or the Secretary to the Cabinet, as he should formally be described. And these duties include liaising between the Prime Minister and CREED, ensuring that CREED is facilitated and supported as is necessary for the effective delivery and implementation of its mandate, and advising the Prime Minister on the strategic direction of CREED in the context of wider cross-governmental objectives.
The functions of the CREED are set out in Clause 9 of Section 3 of the bill.
A. Ensuring the climate resilience of the physical and other infrastructure of Dominica. B. Coordinating recovery action following a climate-related disaster. C. Identifying, developing, and recommending to the Board climate-resilient systems. D. Promoting the development of Dominica as a climate-resilient nation. E. Implementing major capital projects. F. Preparing a Dominica climate resilience and recovery plan, and accounting to the Board for the delivery of targets set out in that plan.
CREED will have a 4-year mandate, but the Prime Minister can extend its operation in limited circumstances for a maximum of 1 additional year. Provision is also made in the legislation for a Chief Executive Officer who will report to Parliament on a regular basis. Chairperson of the Emergency Shelter Subcommittee of NEPO says plans are already underway for the 2019 hurricane season.
The hurricane season officially runs from 1st June to 30th November, though with the advent of climate change, the public is asked to be prepared at all times. Dominica was put under warning for near direct impact from 3 weather systems, namely Tropical Storms Beryl, Isaac, and Kirk. Glenroy Tuse, who heads the Emergency Shelter Subcommittee, says the action of shelterees and shelter managers was commendable.
And the response was overwhelming. In fact, people did not take it lightly. In fact, I recall clearly in prior to even we activating the shelters, there were people already assembling by the shelter to get in as soon as the shelter were activated. So certainly it allows them to understand the level of preparedness. We really want to recognize the efforts of our shelter managers and assistant managers. These are volunteers who have their own families and loved ones, and they themselves have to prepare for the season, and they took on that responsibility to open the shelters and to be there to take in the people and to record, and we were very strict.
Tuse applauded citizens for offering their private homes as shelters, especially as the number of official shelters had been cut down from 140 to 108 due to Hurricane Maria.
We found ourselves in a situation where there were 17 communities without a shelter. And we were able to move from that 17 communities to 0, so to speak. So we were able to cover all of those communities, and I think that is really the highlight for the NEPO Shelter Subcommittee, that we were able, moving from 17 communities that were challenged in terms of shelters, and of course ensuring that for the 2080 season that no community was left out in terms of that affording the opportunity for persons to be sheltered in the event of those adverse hazards impacting us. So certainly that is a plus, and we want to recognize those persons in communities who offered their homes.
The Emergency Shelter Subcommittee Chairman says plans are already underway for the 2019 hurricane season.
We want to start early because the thing is, we want our people to understand as well, disaster management is not necessarily a June to November thing. We are supposed to have that sort of awareness. It's a January to December, so to speak, because there are other hazards that may impact us. There is need for us to ensure that we prepare early and we can consolidate our efforts, and at the end of it, because every year we have to make a publication. We have to publish the emergency shelter. So we're starting that process. We've already started discussion, and we're hoping to take that process further so that at least by May we can be well ready to have a list published for the general public. And we certainly would have learned from certain hiccups that we have, because we are certainly going to have an evaluation.
Deputy Prime Minister Reginald Austrie believes the new Smart Health Centre in La Plaine is a symbol of how Dominica is leading in promoting climate resilience. Mr. Austri says the new Smart Health Center is another step towards Dominica becoming the world's first climate-resilient country.
And many of us still wondering what this is. And we wondered, where did the Prime Minister get this thing from? Because 3 days after hurricane, he was at the UN, and that was the message he was pushing at the UN. But interestingly, many heads of state, many organizations, many institutions have listened to the call. And now climate resilient development is a buzzword for the entire international community. And so our success at making this climate resilient phenomenon work is being monitored by the international community. This Smart Health Center, based on all that I've heard, I'm not a technology person, but based on all that I've heard, it seemed to me that any disaster that strikes the people of La Plaine, they know that they have a health facility that they can depend on, that they can count on. You have the personnel who great confidence have been expressed in here in La Plaine. You have the confidence that the personnel will be there to deliver to you the proper health care and health interventions that is required at any particular point in time.
Austria acknowledged the role of the British Department for International Development DFID and the Pan-American Health Organization PAHO in making the new Smart Health Center a reality.
This DFID and PAHO, they're not sitting on mountains of gold and money and they don't know what to do with it. Like I said, there are millions of people all over the world begging and asking for that kind of support and that kind of help. But Dominica was chosen, and you will decide for yourself why you believe Dominica was chosen. And if the concert on Sunday night meant anything to you, then you'll have a clear idea as to why Dominica was chosen. And we really, really want to thank DFID, because we really do not have the financial capacity in this country to make it happen. We do not have the technical and human resource that is required to undertake this massive project. And that is why we're even more grateful that organizations like DFID and like PAHO could come to our aid.
You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after the break.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evil. Anywhere you are.
Big girls don't scream hot like Halloween, make me feel alive.
There's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evil.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fenced pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
$185 families have benefited from a $1.5 million allocation towards home repairs in Roseau South. This follows the completion of a housing stock database project earlier this year. Government Senator Jaiseya Benoit, who is involved in this project, says the focus has been on roof repairs.
We established a housing stock database of all of the residential homes within the constituency of Roseau South. And we have identified so far over 1,500 homes. Once that work was complete, we then made representation to the central government to seek assistance, with the repair, to seek to play a role in facilitating the repair of as many homes as possible. And the Ministry of Housing allocated $1.5 million initially towards repair of homes in Roseau South. And these resources were distributed to the 3 local authorities, being the Roseau City Council, Lubia Village Council, and the Gire-de-Legliston Village Council, and targeting initially some 185 families.
Benoit says outside of the direct financial assistance, homeowners also benefit through the donation of building materials.
Besides the allocation of those funds, a significant amount of building materials was distributed throughout the Roseau South in the past several months, amounting to in excess of $1 million. So in terms of physical materials, quite a lot of material was distributed throughout the Roseau South to assist families again in repairing their homes, working together with the local authorities. So far, many of these families have completed their repair activities and have since re-entered their homes, so they now have improved shelter, and we're very grateful for that. However, due to the scale of damage in certain cases, we see that there are many families who still need some further support.
According to Benoit, Kingsville, Loubaire and Giro de la Gliston were the communities worst affected by Hurricane Maria. 6 months into its formation, the Portsmouth Hospitality Association says it is still struggling to carry out its mandate in the community.
The association was formed with the aim of developing the hospitality sector in Portsmouth through deepening linkages among all hospitality stakeholders, inclusive of property owners, taxi drivers and service providers. Chairman of the Portsmouth Hospitality Association, Ashton Revere, says despite the struggles, the association is making positive strides.
We have made some progress in that we have got the partnered with the Discover Dominica Authority to do what I think is a very valuable training exercise with the landlords especially, but more broader context, stakeholders in the Picard area, to try to get people trained in hospitality skills, especially small hotel and guest house management. That I would say is the highest or the most important step that we have taken thus far.
Earlier this year, the Dominica Festivals Committee had announced the primary accommodation for World Creole Music Festival visitors would be in Portsmouth. Revere says while properties were occupied for this event, there were still several which did not benefit from the expected influx of tourists.
We also had partnership to some extent with the Discover Dominica Authority in hosting clients during the World Creole Music Festival. As far as the numbers are concerned, we don't have any statistical data available as the information hasn't been really forthcoming. But anecdotal evidence, speaking to the landlords and stuff like that, not many people say that the World Creole Music Festival created a big impact for them. Of course, the DDA rented out a number of apartments in Picard to house artists and support staff and all of that. And the whole transportation aspect of it was pretty well organized from what I saw.
The PHA chairman says one of the struggles in developing the sector in the north is getting stakeholders to realize there is strength in numbers.
We've met with the DHTA and they were very supportive, I must say. They encouraged us to join with the DHTA to form some sort of partnership. We have not moved in that direction as yet because really we want to consolidate the Portsmouth Hospitality Association. One of the challenges we have been facing in doing that is actually getting the message across to the general stakeholders in the Portsmouth area that the Portsmouth Hospitality Association is not something for landlords in the Picard area, but for all stakeholders in the Portsmouth hospitality industry. I would say that quite a few people understand the benefits there may be to having an association, but to move from understanding what the benefits are, or maybe to actually being part of it and driving the process forward, seems to have been a challenge.
The 6-month-old Portsmouth Hospitality Association is currently in the process of registering itself as a legal entity and reviewing its constitution. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
And the high standards of transparency and financial management expected in the operations of the Climate Resilience Execution Agency of Dominica. Attorney General Levi Peters says accountability and community engagement will also be high on the organization's priority agenda.
There will also be a role for external audit, as it is the intention that the executing agency operates within the highest level of transparency and accountability. The agency will own the reconstruction targets and through new powers given to it by Parliament, prescribed in scope and time, would have the ability to step in to improve delivery where those targets are slipping. CREED will be on a continuous emergency footing. New projects will come first to CREED's coordination war room. CREED will ensure they fit into the Climate Resilient Recovery Plan, and there is coordination with and a leveraging of other projects. CREED and donors will decide where the project is best delivered, whether from line ministries, a partnership between CREED and the donor, or by CREED itself. CREED will centralize scarce procurement skills and will be a one-stop shop for licensing and permitting. It is our hope that a parliamentary oversight committee will be established to provide real-time oversight to the functioning of the CREED.
The AG says CREED will need strong, proven leadership with the confidence of donors, government and beneficiaries. Part 4 of the proposed legislation discussed with stakeholders on Wednesday speaks to financial provisions for CREED.
And Clause 16 identifies the funds and resources of CREED. The funds and resources of CREED will consist of such sums as may be provided by the government for the purpose, any grant made to CREED with the approval of the Minister of Finance, by a person, body or international organization, and all other monies or property which may in any manner become payable to or vested in CREED in respect to any matter. Clause 17 will require CREED to keep proper accounts of its transactions, and its accounts will be audited annually. Clause 18 will require the Chief Executive Officer to prepare and present an annual report to the Prime Minister within 6 months of the end of the financial year.
Stay connected and share your favorite holiday moments with Flow. Get the Alcatel A1 for $199 when you activate an extra-large prepaid combo plan, or the Samsung J4 for just $399 with a large postpaid plan, and get free talk evenings and weekends. Plus, get free WhatsApp on large and extra-large prepaid combo plans, and sign up for any new service for a chance to win cash or hampers every week. So make it Flow for everything mobile this Christmas. Terms and conditions apply. Visit discoverflow.co for more.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth, or call 445-5001 275-5003 today.
To end the news, a look again at the headlines. Health Minister warns hospital staff shirking their duties to pull up their socks. Draft legislation for the Climate Resilience Execution Agency of Dominica heading to Parliament in December. And the National Emergency Planning Organization prepares for the 2019 hurricane season. Feel free to contact us at news@mapping2k4.com. You may access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.